Good afternoon, teacher. Well, my name is Jimmy Vallejo. I am your student and English phonetic in at UTPR University. Okay. Today's topic is pronunciation teaching, practice and exercises. The what we are going to see today is techniques to teach English vowels, consonants, intonation, and word streets as part of integrated lesson. Okay. First, we have to know what are integrated lessons. Okay. Integrated lesson refers to an instructional approach where multiple skills, all the skills that in a language should be teach, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing, well, are taught together in a coordinated manner rather than in isolation. The key characteristics of integrated lesson in their focus is their focus on real life language and the use of interconnected nature language skills. Well, these are kind of lessons or these are kind of classes which the teacher focus on teach all the skills together. That's why it's one of the way I know that as a teacher that not in all our classes we have to teach all the skills together. There are classes, there are listening classes, speaking classes, reading and writing classes. Each one of them have to be teach in isolation too. But in certain times we have to teach it together because it's important that the students uh, think or have to know that they have to know that all of our skills in whatever language we learning is important. Okay, there I have an example of integral lesson. For example, teaching a unit about environment. The first thing that the student have to do is read an article about environment issues. This is when we are using the first skill, that is reading. Then they have to discuss solution in groups. In this part of the lesson, the student have to use two skills: speaking and listening. The next step in the lesson is write essay or letter to raise awareness. In this case, the students have to play all the things that they have learned in writing classes. And the last thing they have to do in this lesson is present their finding orally. Then, in this space, they have to express everything by speaking. Normally, I think that in oral classes, the speaking is one of the last parts that we teach. That is because when we're to speak a language, we have to know some grammatical structures and some things like this. Well, the first thing we have to know also is to learn to teach vowels. This is one of the most important things in all the language. I remember that when I was learning Spanish in the school, in primary, the teacher teach us M-A, ma, T-A, ta. These are phonics. This is phonics in Spanish. In English, we have to try to teach other things because in Spanish, we have five vowel sounds. In English, we have more than this. And this is important to know what is the importance of teaching vowels in English. Okay, and here I have a brief um, example of how we are going to teach vowels. According to the lesson that I was talking previously about the environment, okay, the first thing that the teacher have to do is introduce key environmental terms and their meanings. Second, highlight the stress syllable in each word. For example, pollution is the stress syllable. Renew, able, renewable, habit. This is the stress is where the intonation, no, not not intonation, where the strong uh, sound is practice pronouncing these words, focusing on the correct vowel sound and stress placement. The last one is discuss any challenging vowel sounds and provide feedback on pronunciation. This is when we're teaching vowels. When we are teaching consonants, consonant cluster challenge environmental tongue twisters. Introduce tongue twister focusing on environmental issues and challenging consonant cluster. So the second is practice saying the tongue twister individually and in parts, and facing clear articulation of consonant clusters. And the last step is discussing the importance of a clear pronunciation for effective communication about environmental topics. Other thing that we have to see this time is teaching intonation. In English, it's very important intonation. I always say to my students that in English we don't have some symbols that we don't have in Spanish. For example, we don't have question mark to open a question. We don't have tilde. We don't have the letter ñ. So this is very important. This is one of the things because intonation is important. When in Spanish we have question mark to open a questions. Uh, we know how to pronounce that sentence, but in English they don't have. What does teach or what does give to our students the cue to how to intonate that sentence? For example, in Spanish, we know that all the sentences, the question sentences always go with the verb at the beginning, or they have to be a WH question or informative question. These are the two ways to make a question sentence. So, and now we are going to see one example. Intonation in environmental discussions, you have to provide the discussion prompt or a scenario related to the environmental challenge and solution. Model different intonation patterns for expressing opinions, asking questions, and suggesting solutions. The third step is have the students practice this pattern in pairs or in small groups, focusing on natural and appropriate intonation. The third thing is provide feedback and intonation and encourage reflection and how it impacts communication effectively. One of the, this is the last one, is how to teach teaching word streets. Okay, all the teachings examples is based on environmental, something with environment. Sentences stressed in environmental statement. Provide a statement related to environmental issues and solutions. For example, reducing plastic waste is a question for marine life, and also identify and mark stress word in each statement. Practice saying the statement aloud, facing incorrect stress patterns. Discuss the importance of the stress in governing meaning and encourage the students to practice STAR in their own statement. Okay, this is one of the examples. Okay, for stress, this is another example of word stress. And the last one is a conclusion. My conclusion is that integrating these pronunciation activities into a team based unit on environment, students not only depend on their understanding of environmental issues, but they also improve their pronunciation skill in a meaningful context. These activities engage students in using language authentically while focusing on essential pronunciation elements, enhancing the overall communicate competencies. For me, as I previously say, not all the classes should be an integral class or an integral lesson, but we have to do it at least one time, once or twice in one or twice in a portion. This is very important for us, okay? This is very important because this is the way how the students will control or will realize if the knowledge that they have previously been learning has been learned in a good way. Okay, that was my contribution to the topic, teacher. I hope you can see it, you can watch it, excuse me. I hope you can watch it and you can enjoy it.